Hey, I'm Dave Isaacs, and we're going to start our blues road trip at the source in the Mississippi Delta. Now, Delta blues is a very, very broad, even within the subgenre, is a fairly broad designation because we can talk about one artist or another and there will be distinctive things about each of their sounds. Keep in mind as we proceed through this course that this is meant to be an overview and that we're not really looking at any one particular artist, but particular musical characteristics of each style of blues. And so the thing about the Delta blues that I want to point out to you right from the beginning is that we need to set aside our concept of the 12-bar shuffle to start with and just start with what I'm going to call a stomp. Because there are blues songs that are one chord. I might just be on an E chord like this and just thumping that low string or low pair of strings off my E chord. I'm hitting 6 and 5 right now. What's important here is that steady pulse, what I'm going to call the stomp. This is not music that has a backbeat necessarily, not at the moment, or at least not a prominent one. This is not boom, chick, boom, chick. It's not even chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. It's almost like you're running in place or just... To me, there is a feeling to this, which is the arrival of each strong beat. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And in a lot of music, in most music, there should be a sense of hierarchy between stronger and weaker beats, and we do have this happening here. But in terms of our 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, we want that to be even. This is not music that's surging forward and traveling. This is music that's hanging out in one place. And Muddy Waters said once that a blues band was a bunch of guys sitting in a circle having a conversation. We're not trying to go anywhere. We are hanging out here and telling a story. And so that steadiness of that thump is really important. And I'm just going to point out before we go any further that this is a fundamentals course. We are assuming that you are not an absolute beginner, but that this is something that is, if not completely new to you, at least that you are new enough to the guitar that there are some fundamentals that need to be stressed as we go on through this course. And one of them is that your sense of time is essential. And if you're one of those people that struggles with rhythm or that thinks that you have no time, I'm just going to point out to you that there's nothing more fundamental than a steady beat. If your heart beats, if you can breathe, if you can walk, you know what steady feels like. And I'm going to suggest to you that the big trap guitarists fall into is that we try to feel the beat with our picking hand when you need to feel it in your body. And so it doesn't matter if you're tapping your foot or nodding your head or rocking your upper body, something, anything that you can do to put that steady circular pulse into your body. And when I say circular, I mean that it feels like this. I'm not counting 4s really, I'm just thump, thump. Just a note of technique, I am lightly palm muting because I don't want these chords ringing. So that means that I am resting my picking hand on the saddle, and palm muting is something that does have a degree of subtlety to it because where I fall is going to have a big impact on the sound. If I'm too far back, I have no mute. If I'm too far forward, I have no note. And so we're looking for the right combination of resonance and mute. And so this is why I like the word stomp. This is why I like the word thump. And I want you to think about this downstroke as being essentially just dipping the thumb, rocking the hand with some weight of the arm behind it. And so we're going to listen to this part against our track called Delta Stomp. And I want you to notice that the thing I am most focused on is keeping that steady, consistent pulse. I am basically playing an E7 chord over here. I have 2 fingers down with my fretting hand, my index on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, my middle on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. If I strum all 6 strings, I have an E7 chord. But all I'm really doing is thumping 6 and 5 And then the timing I'm going to play is going to be like this. I am playing a shuffle. I said that you want to set aside your concept of 12-bar shuffle. But that's because we're not playing chunk, cha chunk, cha chunk, cha chunk, cha chunk, cha chunk, right? And that to me is even more linear in the sense of forward motion. This, rocking your body, nodding your head, tapping your foot. But it is a shuffle in the sense that there's a triplet here. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. If you need to count or feel that triplet, then do. But be aware that it's a subdivision. So your stomping pulse is just 1, 2, 3, 4. If it helps you, and sometimes trying to count can be confusing, if it helps you to just vocalize or verbalize in some way, not na 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 na. It's actually very typical in a blues triplet for us to put the emphasis on the downbeat and then a lighter emphasis on the third beat of that triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if I do this slowly, here's your sort of most familiar, and we'll get into this in a subsequent lesson. But the idea is that rhythmically, we're going boom, 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 boom. So it's strong 1, weaker 3, and you don't really count to 3. I think your best feeling in this is simply a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And this is pointing to something fundamental, and I cannot stress this enough. Blues is rhythmic music. It's groove music. It's body music. If it is not in your body, you're not doing it right, and it's not going to feel right to your audience either, or to you. And so when I talk about the feel, about getting the sensation into your body, I want you to understand that everybody that you emulate or want to emulate or admire or love the sound of their playing, they grew up immersed in this music. And so the physical aspect of feeling it is completely natural to them. It's natural to you too, but it's something you do need to look at and learn. Some people just absorb this stuff very quickly. If you are one of the significant percentage of people who don't, then just be aware that knowing what you're looking for is really the right thing here. And what we're looking for is steady and that sensation of arrival, a landing, a stomp. You take a step, your foot hits the floor. The triplet is completed by my foot leaving the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's not get too tied up in that triplet. But listening against the track, you'll hear what I mean. Notice that all I'm doing, again, is repeating E7 and then 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm just releasing my left hand fingers, my fretting hand fingers, and playing an upstroke, da-da. And I want you to feel this as a 1. So the pattern might start on 1, but what we really feel is that it starts with the pickup. And so pickup is a great word to have because it's like you are picking up the beat and carrying it across the bar line. This is stuff I'm going to continue to repeat. These are rhythmic subtleties that, as I said before, are really essential to understanding this. Some people just get it intuitively. For many of us, just speaking, talking the rhythms, da-da, da, da, is a really great way to absorb it. So let's get into this track here, and I think you'll see what I mean. You will notice one other detail, which is that I will sometimes, when you hear the riff, the lick that we're playing to, when you hear that change, I'm going to grab a G here at the 3rd fret of the E string, but I'm really not worrying about a G chord. I'm just playing this note, and whatever I brush on the bass side is what I brush. Now we're going to practice along with this track, and again I want you to keep in mind that the fretting hand part of this is very, very simple, and that the thing you are focused on most of all is feeling that thump, that stomp. And if it helps for you to imagine yourself sitting on a front porch in a semicircle, just grooving, just being glad to be there and be a part of this, then do it. Put yourself there. It's a summer night in the Mississippi Delta. Let's play some blues. Quick reminder for you, of course, we are thinking about the rhythm, and I should mention, I said before that we're going for a sensation here of that repeating stomp. You can also extend that to your strumming hand and just feel the arrival of the hand falling into the strings, the flick of the wrist. And if this helps, you can even practice with the track, just muting the strings. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and making sure that your downstroke is an arrival, that there is no effort in your strumming hand at the bottom of that strum. It's like we have a moment of nothing. Rest, rest. So watch out for that. And then keeping in mind also that there can be a rhythmic accent on the 4 count. I said before that we're really thinking of this in 1, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So when that G note comes in, there's a bit of an emphasis on that, and that's another little rhythmic variation that adds some more movement. We're going to add on some licks to this in the next lesson and learn the guitar part that you just heard playing along with the backing track.